Hey guys, what's going on? This is Anthony with the VR Game Rankings YouTube channel. Welcome to another episode of the Daily Vlog Live. I believe it is episode 184, I think. It is Tuesday. It is August 28th. And this is a big day in VR gaming because we have the release of a number of major games today. Torn is available today. In fact, I am actually downloading Torn right now. Unfortunately, I was hoping to get a chance to play Torn yesterday. That didn't happen, but I will be able to play Torn later today. So I will definitely have thoughts on Torn tomorrow. Also, Bow to Blood. Bow to Blood for PlayStation VR is currently downloading on my PlayStation VR. So that is another one. Didn't get to try it yet. I will have my thoughts on Bow to Blood tomorrow. But those are two of the big games that are available today. Obviously, Firewall 0 Hour is probably the single biggest game that is available today on PlayStation VR. If you go to the PlayStation VR subreddit, pretty much every single thread seems to be Firewall 0 Hour related. There's a few Torn threads in there, a few Bow to Blood threads in there, but it is mostly all straight up Firewall 0 Hour. And I do plan on getting my hands on Firewall 0 Hour, but I'm going to get it in a couple of days. I want to buy the bundle with the aim controller, and I will be getting that soon. So the bad news is I don't have takes for any of these big games that are already out, which that does kind of suck. Billy Rose just finished playing about an hour of Firewall. Billy, what is your thoughts on that? Bradley Perot is in chat. What's going on, Bradley? The Rex Terra is in the building. I Am Rut says Torn is amazing. He played it for the last hour, but Kev Gretz says Torn is okay. It's not what I expected, just a long puzzle type game. Scion VR is saying, hey, what is going on? Mitch Crane, good morning, everybody. Crunchy is in the building right at the very beginning. Kev Gret declares today, August 28th, Firewall Day. Yeah, this is our Independence Day. T-Dub is in the building. Fluke started things off. Chris Cox, what is up, everybody? Any estimates on how long Torn is supposed to be? I'm not sure. The price isn't that much, right, on Torn? Is it like $29.99? So should have a decent bit of content there, I would imagine. Let me go ahead and do my normal intro trailer real quick here as I get going. My PC has been kind of sluggish. I'm not sure if it's because I'm in the middle of downloading Torn and like installing it. That might have a factor, but it's almost done. So I'll go ahead and close out my Oculus in just a second here, and then hopefully that'll be improved. Okay, so yeah, VR Game Rankings Daily Vlog Live, episode 184. It is Tuesday. It is August 28th. It is another day, another dollar. And yeah, so Torn is discounted slightly for the launch, and T-Dub says it's around 6 to 8 hours of content. Who was it earlier? Was it Kev Gret that's talking about he was not that impressed? You know, it's a puzzle game. And that's the thing about puzzle games is there's another puzzle game I might be talking about later today, or I might wait for tomorrow on that one. But the thing about puzzle games is they can sometimes be a slow burn. And if you get on a puzzle and you get stuck on that puzzle relatively early, it can be it can change your impression of that game pretty significantly. So that's the thing about puzzle games. Sometimes I think with puzzle games you have to kind of play them for a while. You know, you have to takes a little time to marinate with them, I'd have to say. I'm just looking for another trailer I could just throw on temporarily as I look for something else to talk about. Okay, Kev Gret says, yes, very slow burn, just going room to room, doing the same puzzle mechanic. Tom Lloyd says he hates puzzle games. You know, the interesting thing about puzzle games, it was not my genre. Puzzle games were never a big genre for me, especially in the world of flat gaming. Like, I don't think I ever really like bought a puzzle game or looked forward to a puzzle game in the world of flat gaming. Even back like when Myst came out and all of that, just I was never really into puzzlers so much. Maybe if I got like a free demo or something, I would try a puzzle game and possibly end up liking it. But in the world of VR, I really feel like puzzle games, like there's certain genres that go to be there's certain genres that go with VR so well. You know, it's bread and butter, like racing games, perfect for VR. Space cockpit games, perfect for VR. We've already seen that wave shooters are basically perfect for VR. Horror games, really good in VR. And puzzle games, I think, are really good in VR as well. And part of it is because you're placed in this world, you're surrounded by this world. A puzzle game can be a lot slower, a lot more deliberate. And I think in VR, you're in a world, you're in an environment, you're surrounded by everything. You don't need to necessarily have a million things happening simultaneously because you're kind of in that environment. You're not in a flat screen where you really have to be entertained to like keep your focus on a flat screen. You're in the game. You can walk around, you can take your time, you can smell the flowers. And I think that's one of the reasons that puzzle games are a lot better in VR. And like the Talos principle, incredible. I think that's just an absolutely fantastic game. I'm trying to think of other puzzles. Super Hypercube on, well, I played it on PlayStation VR. I thought that was a fun puzzle game if you get it for a really cheap price, of course. But there's a number of puzzle games. The Gallery, episode 1, episode 2, you know, they're very much puzzle type games. So I'm Zing. Oh yeah, Zing. Duh. I completely forgot about. That's like my favorite puzzle game of the bunch. Zing, The Land Beyond, just, you know, the environment and all of that. So I'm still looking forward to Torn, looking to get into Torn. Definitely excited about that at some point in time. But let's go ahead and get into some little minor news stories that we have today besides all the game releases. You guys, if you have tried any of these big, firewall impressions. Wait, before I switch up. Billy Rose looks decent on an OG PS4. Tracking has been spot on with the aim. The tactical play is great and extremely fun. Movement feels good. Game modes are lacking and matches are too short. My big question, anybody out there with Firewall, if you don't have, like, let's pretend you don't have internet access, or let's pretend that you don't have PlayStation Plus, what are you doing in Firewall? You know, is there anything to do with that? Because that would be kind of lame. I'd probably have to like start up a new PlayStation account, you know, where they give you that 2 days, they give you 48 hours of online if you start up a new PlayStation account. Might do something like that just to try to get a couple days of Firewall 0-hour action before I move on with that. Tom Lloyd says, I even hated puzzles in Metal Gear, the stupid maze that would keep you from the next area. Yeah, I mean, the thing about puzzles is if you're stuck on them, oh my God, they can be so incredibly frustrating and irritating. And you'll have a certain game where maybe you loved that game, but you got stuck in a particular puzzle. And every time you think about firing that game up, you're like, do I really want to fire that up? I'm going to be banging my head against the wall for an hour. And then you have to go to the internet and you go to YouTube and you look at walkthroughs. This kind of happened with me with Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. You have these environmental puzzles and sometimes you solve them. And that's the catch-22, of course, with puzzle games is if you solve the puzzle yourself, you feel like a genius. You know, you feel like, oh my God, I am freaking Einstein, and you feel really good. Static. Troy Martin is bringing up Static. Yeah, there's just a lot of great puzzle games in VR. Chris Gould says, I'll get Torn when I finish Zing, Abduction, and that game I keep plugging on the go. So, yeah. So, I mean, you know, we do have a lot of puzzle games, but let me get into a minor story of note that some of us might be a bit disappointed in. Let's see, where is this here? Okay, let me pop this up. So LG Ultra Gear VR. Does anybody remember this? There was supposed to be LG Ultra Gear VR. That was the name, right? Here is the LG VR headset. That is Jeremy Williams of Tested. They have those crazy ass controllers. The LG Ultra Gear, this was supposed to be a Steam VR headset. We see this little, well, now it's not. LG Ultra Gear are gaming monitors. So apparently they have taken this LG Ultra Gear name, and now it is actually going to be these widescreen curved gaming monitors. Now, I'm not sure if this information is starting to come out because of IFA. I was calling it IFA or IFA or whatever. I guess it's pronounced IFA. The IFA conference in Berlin is later this week. It extends into the month of early September, so extremely late August, very early September. It's possible that LG might be showing off some of these gaming monitors there. I don't know, but we did get on a South Korean website, we did get this information that leaked out about LG Ultra Gear, this brand of gaming monitors. So whatever happened to the VR component, tremendously disappointing. I got to tell you guys, the whole LG headset thing is really the primary reason I sold my Vive. It's the primary reason that Steve sold his Vive. It's the primary reason that Gary sold his Vive. Do you see this LG right here? All of us thought that LG was coming out with a Steam VR headset, that it would have some significant improvements, maybe even Knuckles would be coming along for the ride because they had those crazy ugly controllers. And we felt like another Steam VR headset was right around the corner, and we all sold our Vives kind of in preparation for that. That was the thought process. Oh, we'll just get the LG. Everything's great. Simplex PL says LG trolled you big time. Yeah, the flip down visor. Yep, they had the flip up design that they had as well, which was pretty cool. And Crunchy is saying, did LG give up on VR? And I'm not sure if they've given up completely on VR. I kind of doubt that they've given up completely on VR, because part of the issue here is LG and Samsung. These guys they battle. I mean, Samsung is the dominator right now, but LG is kind of like that sister cousin of Samsung, and they want to compete with Samsung head to head in every category. So I cannot imagine that they are completely giving up on VR, but it's very possible that whatever their original VR headset was, they've basically scrapped it and they are reevaluating their situation. So I still believe that LG will get involved at some point in VR again with some type of headset. There's no way they're just going to let Samsung just do whatever they want and not have some type of an answer. So I believe LG will be back in the building at some point, but it's obviously not the greatest news that they're using this Ultra Gear name for something completely unrelated to VR. Phil Yarn says he's got to get back to work. I started Alien Isolation yesterday, That shit is amazing. I can't believe Sega isn't capitalizing on such an awesome VR experience. Yeah, it really is shocking to me. I don't know if maybe they're worried, like maybe Sega is worried that it's too scary, too intense. Maybe they're worried about the average Joe Schmo getting into the Alien Isolation game and like having a lawsuit or something. Why wouldn't they do that? There's free money on the table. I don't understand this. It's the same thing with Capcom and Resident Evil 7. There literally is free money sitting on a table. Simply pick up and grab the money, Sega and Capcom, but they're not doing it. And they obviously have some kind of reason behind it. But yeah, Phil, I was into Alien Isolation, played it for a number of days. I went on my trip and that kind of threw everything out of whack. But yeah, there's always a million games. I was not that far into Alien Isolation at all. I was having a tremendous time, straight AAA style experience, but so many games are constantly coming out. Like when I'm done with this show today, I'm going to be playing Bow to Blood, trying to give my impressions on that. I'm going to be playing Torn, so I always have to keep moving forward. It kind of sucks. Let's see. Minecraft MVR used to get me dizzy too. We're talking about a little bit where you can get dizzy in some of these games, Echo Arena and whatnot. Paradise Decay is checking in. So yeah, that is a little bit of some disappointing news in regards to LG. Chris Gould says he's pretty impressed with Bow to Blood, but I bought Code 51 at the same time, and for some reason I've been playing that one all day. Simple but great fun. Code 51, you know, I've heard that mentioned a couple of times. Don't remember what it is, though. But let's see here. So one of the other tiny little pieces of news that we did get today, and this is one of the highlighted things on the Oculus Rift subreddit. So this is a Star Citizen developer. And apparently they were having some kind of update chat where they're talking about the game. You can see on the screen here, it says, what if any plans are there for a personal hangar update? So it's probably kind of a Q&A answer session with the Star Citizen's developers, talking about, you know, the different things that are going to be in Star Citizen, if that ever does come out at some time in the far-flung future, in the dystopian future. Maybe Star Citizen will actually release, but you can see there's a red circle, and you see back there, there is an Oculus sensor that is just kicking it there in the background. And so a lot of people are wondering, okay, so Code 51 is a robot arena game. A lot of people are saying, either this guy is like playing his Oculus Rift on his breaks while he's at work, or Star Citizen is going to be Oculus Rift compatible or is going to support VR. All of these kinds of things. Crunchy says Star Citizen has supported VR for a while. Yeah, that's what I always thought. I thought from the very beginning they said Star Citizen was going to support VR. Of course, from the very beginning, I've always thought that Star Citizen has basically said it's going to do everything. You know, it's going to be every game to everybody. And so it's going to support VR as well. But no, seriously, I always thought that Star Citizen was going to support VR. That's what I had always heard. So I didn't know that this was news. But in the Oculus subreddit, let me actually bounce over to the Oculus subreddit real quick. Oh, you know what? I think I'm done with Torn. Torn has fully installed, so I will close out my Oculus account in case that was slowing things up slightly. Let's see here. So I am going to bounce into the Oculus subreddit real quick just to see what these people were talking about on this picture. Yes, Star Citizen dev spotted working with Rift. Well, at least using it at work, but maybe, just maybe, that is like the #1 upvoted thread on the Oculus. And the Matt's Bread checks in, could be his Elite Dangerous setup. And yeah, so I mean, I thought they were always supporting VR. I didn't know this is a new thing. I thought they were always supporting VR, but you know, they kind of promised everything under the sun as well. So there is that. Okay, so anyway, let's see, what else do I have to get into here. Let me go ahead and get in back to where my game trailers are. And so, you know, one announcement we did have, it was either yesterday or the date before, Beat Saber. Now, we knew Beat Saber was going to come to VR arcades, that Beat Saber was going to have some special support for arcades. Beat Saber Arcade coming soon, you know, and Springboard VR, I believe, supports Beat Saber now. So there are these tournaments and stuff. But check this out, folks. Beat Saber has its own arcade cabinet. Now, this is actually meant for the South Korean. Well, let me read this tweet. Beat Saber partnered with Skonek Entertainment to bring you the first Beat Saber arcade machine in the world. You will be able to try this whole new arcade experience this September at KVRF Korea and GTI Expo China. More locations in Asia will be announced soon. So yeah, here is an image of the Beat Saber arcade. I don't know if this is kind of like a render or something. It almost looks too incredible. But then if you zoom in really close, Eagle Eye people spotted this and they said, hey, that looks like a Lenovo Windows mixed reality headset, possibly with some extra padding. And this is a catalog for South Korean arcade owners to choose arcade machines. This was in this catalog. So this is where this kind of leaked. So there is this Beat Saber arcade machine. Now, Skonek Entertainment is the company that is helping Hyperbolic Magnetism. I don't know if they're called Beat Games now. Yeah, I hear a lot of people talk about Beat Games. Of course, Skonek Entertainment, we remember them obviously from Mortal Blitz, which is on PlayStation VR. They had Mortal Blitz on PlayStation VR. It eventually came to the Vive and the Rift as well. I thought Skonek Entertainment was just a regular VR developer. I didn't know they were doing all this other stuff, but they're doing a hell of a lot actually. In South Korea, they are trying to do some major stuff with arcades. This is their Mortal Blitz. They have a walking arcade thing. This is one of the videos they have. They're using Oculus Rift headsets and also HTC Vive headsets in this special arcade walking attractions. This is at VR Square in Seoul, Korea. So they're trying to do some big things here in Seoul, Korea. I don't know why that dude has white makeup on his face. That's kind of interesting. The guns look pretty cool. And so, this is the Mortal Blitz, I believe, walking thing that they have here. But they have some other experiences, VR Cube, VR Future Ride. You're kind of like on a skiing thing, and you can see they're using HTC Vives there. You got the guy with the powdered face, VR Future Ride, yeah, and it looks like they're kind of motion chairs, D-box type chairs. This is kind of just a computer rendering. The white makeup is probably a K-pop thing, says Crunchy. That's a rendering of what they want their arcades to look like. Mortal Blitz for their walking VR attraction. They have Operation Black Wolf. It's cut off a little bit here, but that's Operation Black Wolf for their walking attraction. This is some unnamed Gears of War Halo-looking game, and then they also have some unnamed Wizard role-playing type game. This is all for their walking attractions that Skonek Entertainment has in South Korea and then also in other parts of Asia as well. But they have hooked up with Hyperbolic Magnetism and Beat Games, and they are going to have these actual arcade machines. Now, is this a really big deal? It's not like a huge deal. But again, for those of us in VR, one of the things that we're hoping for is incredibly mainstream support for virtual reality. We want everybody to get in VR. We want everybody to catch the VR bug and to get into VR. And having things like this appear in arcades, like at Dave & Buster's, stuff like that. Now, this is an Asia-only thing right now. It's really just South Korea and China right now. But having this type of thing be out there and available, I think is a great idea. But you know what? The most curious thing about this entire deal is this special arcade cabinet is supposedly self-operable. Okay, self-operable. Now, what does that mean? That means that this cabinet could be in an arcade and there would be no attendant. There would be nobody there. You just walk up to it. I guess you go inside the thing and, you pay whatever money you have to pay. You grab that Lenovo headset, you put it on, and you stand on, where your feet are supposed to be, and you do the Beat Saber thing, I guess is how it works. But, it's a good idea. We can see the Lenovo Windows Mixed Reality headset right there. So that's what they're going to be using in these arcades. I wonder if they really license that. Like, are they officially licensing it, or do they just use it and it's like, deal with it, Lenovo, come at us. We're in South Korea. We got different business rules. You got to deal with it. That is their some of the pictures. See, it looks like it's an open air thing, not like a big contraption that you climb inside of, which some of the other images seem like it's this huge, gigantic arcade contraption. VR Spry Guy says that machine looks expensive. Yeah, it definitely does. But honestly, the thing that I'm most impressed with this whole entire story is I was doing a little bit of research on Skonek Entertainment, and I didn't know that these guys were doing all this stuff with arcade gaming, which I think is pretty cool. And I like the idea of these walking VR attractions. See right there, that's the Mortal Blitz walking VR attractions. You can see they do have Oculus Rifts on, but they have their own tracking mechanism there. And it's possible that what they're doing with these walking attractions, I'm imagining that they have some kind of floor that these people are standing on, and that maybe the floor is moving slowly, but it is moving. And so they're just kind of walking along on this attraction, and they do a mortal blitz and they kind of dial it in for the walking attraction, for the speed of how fast people are walking. And so you're kind of walking along, you're kind of doing things. So I think that's a relatively good idea. So VR Square, next time I'm in Seoul, Korea, definitely will have to check that out. There was some talk in chat. Chris Cox says, imagine the sweat on the headsets. Crunchy says, so I hope they have wipes for the users to clean it before use. Paradise says, I tried a Vive at a show once. It was soggy. There's nothing worse than putting something on with somebody else's cold, damp sweat. Oh my God, that is really the worst. That is absolutely the worst. I totally understand that. Chris Richardson says, you need to come visit LA, Anthony. We have the Void in Glendale, IMAX VR downtown, and Servio Center out west. Lots of VR arcades to check out. I've visited LA a ton of times, but I haven't been there recently. But definitely the next time I do bounce down there, I will definitely check out the Void, if nothing else. IMAX would probably be cool to check out. And I'd like to see what Servios has going on as well. So, it's pretty cool that Skonik Entertainment is involved in some other things. So that is one of the little stories there. Beat Saber Arcade. I think it's a good thing. I'm excited for that. Hopefully that will continue. Okay, I'm just going to throw on some random trailer here as I go look for some other news. So this little video right here is Wolfenstein 3D VR, which I haven't tried this yet. I did try Classic Doom, and I was curious, has anybody else out there finally tried the Classic Doom in VR where you actually have motion control support? So your gun is actually moving around. I don't know if this is like some kind of special version of Wolfenstein that is specifically designed for VR or what? Because I thought the way I understood it is that you would just get the regular Wolfenstein 3D code, right? And you just pop it into that new mod and it would work. I don't know if this is something different. I just grabbed this video randomly to have it rolling in the background, but that is Wolfenstein 3D, which I think would be sweet. And yeah, you can see you got a hand and a gun. See, Doom, I don't believe there's a hand. I believe it's just the gun. So this almost looks like somebody basically made their own version of Wolfenstein for the Vive. So that's kind of cool. Haven't checked that one out. Mame Fan says it's its own EXE, doesn't need Steam or anything. Okay, yeah. Chris Cox says he would love to try the Void. Don't even need WAD files. Okay, so this is something completely different. You don't even need WAD files. Mame Fan, is this just something free that we can download, or do you got to buy this somewhere? Do you got to have the Wolfenstein 3D WAD? I'd certainly check this out because I remember this game way back in the days. I always remember the German Shepherds that would come at you. They better have the German Shepherds, because if not, I would have no interest. But, the Achtung and all that, you got your little German guys and you got Hitler and everything. And you have the swastikas and all of that everywhere, which is not really politically correct anymore, supposedly. Okay, so let's see. Let me go ahead and bounce over. Let's check Upload VR real quick just to see what is the biggest news stories of the day. Most of the discussion is probably about all these games that just came out. Firewall 0 Hour, everything you need to know about the PSVR exclusive shooter. How to invite friends to online games for Firewall 0 Hour. Bow to Blood review. PSVR's next sleeper hit. I will be trying that later today, so I will definitely give you guys my take on that. Luna is going to be hitting PSVR. I honestly wasn't that impressed with Luna, to be completely honest with you guys. Creed Rise to Glory coming to Rift, Vive, and arcades next month too. Yeah, we did hear that Creed, so I guess this is actually kind of big news here. We did hear that Creed was arriving on PlayStation VR on September 25th, and the thought was there would be a timed delay possibly, maybe like a 30-day, 45-day type of delay before it hits PC VR. But let's see. I guess it's saying around the same time. Oculus Rift and HTC Vive versions would launch on that day too. Okay, so Creed, September 25th for everybody. Not sure why they didn't announce that originally, but that is good news. Creed will be out there for everybody. That's pretty cool. And that's pretty much what they're talking about on Upload VR. I'll bounce over to Road VR real quick, just see any late breaking news stories checking in. They had some hands-on Nostros, which of course is the anime inspired open world RPG. They're talking about the Beat Saber arcade machine, which we talked about already. And of course, Palmer Luckey serving up his scathing review of Magic Leap, which we talked about that as well. So let's see, what else can I get into here? Let's talk about IFA for a second. So IFA in Berlin is a little bit later this week. And one of the exciting things about this is, do you guys remember when we got this news story about Samsung and their super high resolution display? Remember, we got this video right here. This is the video where it shows Samsung's super incredible next gen display, and it kind of shows the resolution there, this much improved resolution. And the rumor was that this headset might be revealed officially at the IFA, I keep calling it IFA, the IFA trade show in Berlin, which I'm not sure if it's like August 30th or August 31st. It runs into early September as well, so this is a little bit later this week. This is IFA 2017, some highlights, I believe, from IFA 2017. So it kind of gives you an idea about the type of stuff that they show at IFA. It's not really VR related. It's usually like TVs, washing machines, a lot of phone related stuff, watches, smartwatches, this giant wall display that Samsung has. LG is going to be there with some of their stuff. So it's possible, one of the possible things that we might find out at IFA this year is Samsung Odyssey Plus. Maybe that will be officially revealed. I know it's not that big of a deal because it's pretty much the regular Odyssey with a few minor improvements. But the other big thing, the other big shoe that we're hoping drops is, will we get a look at this next generation Samsung headset with incredibly much higher resolution? That is what I'm super hyped for. And remember that story that we got, this was months ago that we got this story about their super high resolution headset, and it was months in the future that this trade show was going to happen. Well, here we are. Now it's about to happen. So this is later this week. Haven't heard anything in a long time about this. Haven't heard any whispers or anything. Nobody is talking about this on Upload VR or Road to VR to the best of my knowledge here. So not sure what is going on as far as that is concerned with this IFA thing. Is it still going to happen? You know, are we going to get a look at this next generation Samsung headset? Because the number one announcement we'd love to hear is that it's going to be a Steam VR headset and it's going to use 2.0 Steam VR 2.0 tracking. Or is it a next gen Windows mixed reality headset? There's lots of unknown possibilities here, but that is the video that we're talking about. All we saw were they had like a demonstration of the lenses there, but we want to kind of see the actual headset. Could we see it at IFA in a matter of days? So that will be exciting. Hopefully that actually pops off. We don't know. There might just be some cool refrigerators that roll around on the ground. That might be pretty much what we get there. Not sure. Let's see. So I will go ahead and throw About a Blood trailer on. Wish I had my takes on this, but don't have takes yet. Will have some takes later. Well, tomorrow, basically. I will get into this. I gotta say, though, About a Blood, this isn't really my type of jam, but I'm going to try to give it a fair shake. I will try to give it as fair of a shake as I can. This is another game where I don't know if I'm going to be able to do anything single player style. So I might have to like do something to get some PlayStation Plus action to somehow try it out in PlayStation Plus. but I'm not sure how that will work because I believe this was in our VR Roundtable PlayStation account, and I don't know that we have PlayStation Plus on that, so I'll have to figure something out. But anyways, that is Bow to Blood. It is also available today. Probably will hit PC VR platforms in, within about 90 days or so. I don't think this is going to be an exclusive to PSVR for a long time. Chris Gold says Bow to Blood is all single player. Really? Because I thought I heard people comparing it to Star Trek Bridge Crew. Like 4 people are like manning the ship like Star Trek Bridge Crew style, right? No? Maybe not? So Chris is saying except for the app thing. Okay, so maybe the app thing is kind of like Star Trek Bridge Crew? Because I swore I heard somebody compare Bow to Blood to Star Trek Bridge Crew. Don't know where I'm getting that information. Okay, one exclusive thing I can give you guys is I can give you an exclusive about Toy Gun Office Simulator. Yeah, so an indie dev reached out to me at info@gamerankings.com, which is the email. info@vrgamerankings.com is my email. And random devs will sometimes send me a key to a game and say, hey man, I'm making this game. Check out this game. This is the Steam page for Toy Gun Office Simulator. I'm not sure if this is $6 or $7. It is by Wanana Games. It's basically one dude. It's a single individual dude in Charlotte, North Carolina, Roy Schwartz territory. And he's made this game called Toy Gun Office Simulator. And I played it for a while. It's a very basic game. The graphics are pretty simple. The backgrounds, you can see the backgrounds are a little bit like, let's see, what would I describe it? Just in Time Incorporated. Like the background characters and like the environments that you're in kind of remind me of Just in Time Incorporated. And then basically you have these guns and you're just shooting. It's kind of just a shooting gallery, really. You don't have the ability to block anything, so it's all offense. You basically have to use your offense as a defense. If something is shooting something at you, you got to shoot your gun at whatever they're shooting at you, or you get hit. You can't dodge, as far as I'm concerned. And there's basically like 4 different sections of this game, and my favorite was the space stuff, where all of these like UFOs and asteroids and stuff are flying at you. That was my favorite part of the game. I really can't give like any kind of major recommendation to this game. I mean, I know this one individual dude did this, and he did hook me up with the key for this game, and I appreciate that. Can't really give my recommendation for it, though, to be completely honest with you folks, because the way I look at it is $5-6. I mean, yeah, it's only $5 or $6, which is an absolute drop in the bucket. There's no question. Chris Cox says, Jesus, that looks dull. To me, it kind of looks like the game that should be included in a humble indie bundle with like a bunch of other games. If this game was like $2.99, I probably could recommend it a little bit more. I actually did play the thing for like 45 minutes though. You know, the one recommendation I could give in regards to this game is if like I had like a 7-year-old kid, I can imagine, even though this game is like not that great, be kind guys, the dev could be watching. Yeah, he probably is. But if I had a 7 or 8-year-old kid, this is the kind of game that, like, you know how your kids will just fall in love with some random game that makes no sense to you, why they would fall in love with it? Oh, one of the things about this game is, okay, so if you see something that's red, you're supposed to shoot it. If you see something that's green, it reloads your gun with extra shots. And if you see something that's yellow, you're supposed to completely avoid it. And so like in the space part, when you're shooting those asteroids, see how when they break up, it turns yellow? Then you don't want to shoot them anymore or you lose points. You know, it's a simplistic shooting gallery. Honestly, the graphics, like if you forget about the backgrounds and just consider the graphics of what's going on, the actual stuff that's going on, it reminds me of Magic Leap, except it should be your real reality all around you. And then this is like the graphics you get in Magic Leap in an AR experience. So the graphics are a little bit lame from a VR standpoint, but if you had a little kid, they might actually like this. Crunchy says, I understand hard work the dev may have put into it, but they should expect real opinions. Yeah, I got to be honest. I got to be straight up. Chris Gould says, probably boiling your head is better. Talking smack about this game. Space Pirate Trainer is probably better. Yeah, boiling your head is better. That is a bit harsh. I mean, we got to remember here, I could not make this. There's no way in hell. I mean, maybe if I freaking studied for years and figured out how to program something, I can make this. But there's a lot going on. So, I mean, I appreciate an individual dude. Devs have to start somewhere. That's Paradise Decay. Yeah, devs have to start somewhere. So anyway, this is a huge major release, man. It is Toy Gun Office Simulator, man. This is like huge. It comes out tomorrow on the 29th. $5.99 I think is the price. But anyway, the thing that I'll do, devs, if you want to send me a key to your game, as long as it's not like 11 gigs or something like that, I will likely try your game. I will likely check your game out. I will likely try your game out. I'll give your game the benefit of the doubt. I'll play it for 5 to 10 minutes at best, sometimes more. I did spend about 35 minutes in that, strangely enough. Billy Rose says, hundreds of games do this and look a lot better. Hats off to do, but we have to be realistic here. Yeah, I gave him some pubs. So, with a daily show like I have, there's always time to fill. There's always extra, time. So I don't mind it when I get some interesting stuff like that. All right, so what else did we want to get into here? That's pretty much everything that I had coming into this. Let me bounce over to the subreddits real quick. I'll give a quick rundown on the subreddits real quick before I bounce out of here. This might be a shorter show today. If I had some time on Bout of Blood and Torn, definitely would be a much longer show. So tomorrow's episode probably will be considerably longer. I'm on the PSVR subreddit, and it is all Firewall 0 Hour all the time. That is all everybody is talking about over there, and everybody seems to be in love with it. I'm not seeing anybody saying that Firewall sucks, overrated, not seeing any of that. The thing that I was most curious about Firewall, I want to see what those indoor environments look like, especially the hotels and that type of stuff. I thought that looked really cool. So I'm interested in that. On the Oculus subreddit, Twilight Zone inspired Torn launches on Oculus today. Yeah, I've heard that it's kind of Twilight Zone inspired, Black Mirror inspired, which both of those really make me want to go down that road. Absolutely. I love Twilight Zone. I love Black Mirror. So definitely, I even got a little bit of a BioShock vibe when I was watching the trailer for that. So I definitely am looking forward to Torn. And on the Vive subreddit, not much going on over here. They were talking about that LG Ultra Gear trademark. We've already covered that. So I'm going to bounce back over to chat, see what people are talking about. Crunchy says, some games made by a single person are available and have been done. Just work on it more and give it more polish. Scion VR says, I mean, be honest, but not obnoxious in your criticism. Martino Movies, anybody played Torn yet? Yeah, very early. I believe Kevgret played Torn. He was kind of disappointed. And somebody else said that Torn was really awesome. So we had kind of mixed reviews on Torn a little bit earlier there. T-Dub says, is it true that Torn only has spot turning? Are you saying like basically like click movement, 45 degrees? I don't mind that. I don't want smooth. Do you guys really use smooth turning? Smooth turning for me is like instant motion sickness. I do want free locomotion to be able to kind of go wherever I want to go, but I want snap turning. Snap turning is the thing is the phrase I was looking for there that was slipping me. Torn gives me an old-timey Myst vibe. Yeah, it definitely looks like that to a degree. Billy Rose says, gonna play more Firewall when it cools down 95 here in New Jersey. That is the thing. Some of these VR games, you really got to crank those fans. Oh, I am Ruts. He's the one that said Torn is really good. The main character acting is a bit cheesy, but other than that, it is really good so far. Yeah, I will be checking that out later today. Main Fan says he only turns with his body and neck. See, a lot of times I'll play a game where I'm standing in one spot and I'll do snap turning. Sometimes I do, I turn like this and like this, but then eventually you get wrapped up in your cord at a certain point. Fluke says he likes smooth turning as long as it's fast enough. If it's too slow, I don't know. I do not know how you guys do that. As soon as it starts going like this, I'm like, no, this does not work for my brain. This does not compute. I do not like smooth turning. I can't do it. Paradise says smooth turning is good for recording videos. Yeah, it probably looks a lot better to the person watching the video. You can get used to smooth turning if you start with a low sensitivity and increase it gradually over time. I don't know if I could ever do the smooth turning. I just don't know about it. It's crazy too, because it's like I've got pretty good sea legs when it comes to VR, and when it comes to like I don't get motion sick hardly at all in VR, but like the smooth turning, forget about it. Because they always talk about, oh, if you're a VR veteran, you probably like smooth turning. No, I am a VR veteran, but I sure as hell do not like smooth turning. No way, no hell, no how. Okay, well, we're going to have a bit of a shorter show today, guys. I'm going to go ahead and sign out of here and call it a show. I know it was kind of slightly lame episode, but I will have some impressions tomorrow on Torn and on Bout of Blood. There could be some other stuff as well. So this, of course, has been another episode of VR Game Rankings Daily Vlog Live, episode 184. And I will see everybody tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time. I'll have my impressions on those two games and more. So we'll talk about it then tomorrow. See you guys then. Take it easy. Later.